everybody, Levi Clay here, and in today's video we are going to look at playing some diminished licks to spice up our blues playing over a 1-4 chord movement. Sounds very theoretical, but don't worry, I am going to go into a lot more detail to help you out so you fully understand it. And what we're going to be using here is the diminished scale. Now this is in celebration, or brought to you by, or supported by, sponsored by if you like, my latest book, The Diminished Scale Mastery for Guitar. So we're going to delve into this in a relative level of detail today, but if you want to delve mega deep, I would recommend checking out my latest book, where we will go through all of the theory, all of the fingerings that you might need to know this scale all over the guitar. We will talk about half-whole diminished, whole half diminished, applications, triads, seventh arpeggios, just really getting to know this wonderful sound that you hear in the playing of guys like John Schofield or Robin Ford. It's such a great scale. Go check out the book. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Let's move on to the lesson. Right, so I said that we're talking about a blues today, and that's very true. More specifically, a blues in the key of A. And we're really focusing on the first 8 bars of a blues. So if I play that for you, it'll sound like this. 3, 4, A, to D, back to A, repeat A, to D, D again, back to A. That's the first 8 bars of a blues. And I'm thinking of that as being the 1 chord, A, moving to the 4 chord, D. And what we're going to do is use some diminished scale vocabulary in bar 4. So bar 4 is another bar of A7. And in playing the diminished scale, what will happen is we will create a 13 flat 9 chord sound. Think of it as a diminished sound, right? An outside sound, some tension that really needs to be resolved when we move to the D7. So if I put that chord in place, it sounds like this. 3, 4, A7 to D7, back to A7, diminished sound, D7, back to A7. So when I'm doing that, I need to be really clear about this. The focus there is not playing that chord. We're not literally going to play this chord. We're hearing the sound of this chord by the nature of playing the diminished scale. The backing track is still an A7. We're just going to create this sound over the top of it. So, how about the theory? What is the diminished scale, or more specifically, the half-whole diminished scale? So the half-whole diminished scale is a symmetrical scale that consists of consecutive half steps followed by whole steps. That's in its most simple form. If we start on the note A and move up a half step, and then up a whole step, then a half step, and a whole step, half, whole, we've played a diminished scale there, or a half-whole diminished scale. Now there is a whole half diminished scale, fits over a different chord type, equally usable, again covered in much detail in the book. Go and grab yourself a copy, but today we're just dealing in the half-whole diminished scale. Or I prefer to actually call this one the dominant diminished scale, because it works over a dominant chord. So playing it on a string like that is one thing. We want to be able to play it in position, so it sounds more like this. Really interesting sound, and yeah, we need a fingering for that. So we're going to use this basic idea for all of the licks today. We'll start at the 7th fret on the D string. This is our root note, and then we're going to move up a half step to the 8th fret. We'll jump over to the G string. We'll play 5, 6, 8. Jump over to the B string, 5, 7, 8. Jump over to the high E string, 5, 6, 8. And we'll move up a semitone to the 9th fret. So that scale pattern will sound like this. Or we could come down. You can get a lot of mileage out of that pattern. Even more so when I point out that the diminished scale is a symmetrical scale. It repeats in minor third intervals. So we can play that starting on the A. But if we moved up a minor third to C, the exact same scale fingering is going to get us there. We could do the same thing again if I move up to E flat. The same scale fingering is going to create the same scale sound. So when we learn licks like this in this particular lesson, you'll be able to repeat these in 3-fret intervals and really make more out of those licks. So that's kind of one of the cool things about the diminished scale. So in this particular lesson, the focus is resolving, right? Tension, resolution. We're going to play this interesting sounding scale, and we're always looking to resolve that scale. So in this case, we're going from an A7 to a D7 chord. So when I'm playing this, it's really important that you can see where you're going. So we can play the scale, but I'm focused on the sound of a D major chord. Because when I'm playing these licks, I need to be able to go from A7 to D, back to A diminished, to D, A. So, yeah, I cover this in a lot of detail in the book, practice exercises forcing you to play your scale and resolve to the chord sound. Or we should always know how we can resolve our chord sound. But that's not the subject here. What we're going to focus on is vocabulary. So we're going to learn 3 licks today. We're going to play vocabulary over the A7, vocabulary over the D7, back to the A7, play a diminished lick, resolve to D, and then back to A. So let me walk you through the first lick. We're starting out with this very classic major pentatonic-y sound. We're going to go 3, 4. Now what am I doing there? Well, I'm coming down major pentatonic, resolving to D, F sharp, which is the 3rd of D. Now, I should point out, actually, link in the description also to my Patreon page, where you can download a full transcription for this entire lesson, every lick in detail, so you can study it, practice it, and get that stuff down, okay? So I don't want to spend too much of your time on this. So we're going to play that and move down to the F sharp to outline that chord change. So that's the sound of A7 to D. We're then going to repeat the idea because repetition is great. But now we need to play diminished. So bar 1, bar 2, bar 3. We're going to move to diminished. So I'm going to start on the 8th fret on the high E string. I'm going to syncopate this. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to just come down the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Now if I just follow the scale, it's going to take me down to a C sharp. Now I need to resolve to my D. And I can do that by moving up a semitone. So the first 4 bars, 3, 4. Repeat. Takes me to my D chord. Now we need to play something on the D chord. It could be anything, but here's a piece of vocabulary that I like. So I'm going to play just 2 notes of my D chord, the root and the 3rd. And then I'm going to play something that I stole from country guitar and gospel music. So we've got a double stop, 7th fret, 9 and 8, sliding up a tone, coming over to the D root note. It's a triad bass approach, really, when you think about it. Here's a D triad, here's a D triad. And I know my triad so well. You know, triad's big part of my teaching, big part of my playing. It's how I visualize. Covered this extensively on YouTube and in my books, so we won't go over it here, but this is a triad-based approach. And we'll resolve to an A chord. So we have in its entirety D, A, diminished, D, A. A little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, it's really not important what we play before or after the diminished lick. In the long run, you want to be able to improvise, right? So I might go 1, 2, 3, 4. same diminished lick. That outlined my chord change. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play that lick for you in its entirety to a click track so you can practice along with me. So that will sound like this. Okay, good. Now let's play that lick again in its entirety over the backing track. This is a much faster backing track, as you heard in the intro. That kind of jump blues vibe. Very, very cool, though. Lots of fun to play over. So it sounds like this. Okay, so our second lick is going to start out in a bit of a jazzy way. We're going to do this. This is really an E minor 7 arpeggio. But over an A chord, that's the 5th, flat 7, 9 and 11. So I'm thinking it creates that kind of a sound. Really cool, jazzy, colourful sound, the best way to describe it. And this is about stealing vocabulary as well as just diminished stuff. So if you like this, learn it, use it. Play anything, right? So that's how we'll start. We'll start by moving up that E minor 7 arpeggio with a chromatic slide from below, resolving to the 3rd of C sharp, the 3rd of E, A, which is C sharp. And again, I'm going to come down to that F sharp because it's the 3rd of my D chord. So now I'm just going to walk chromatically. Why not? We need to get from D to A. Gets me there, right? Simple melody. Okay, we're back to our A. What do I play? Well, I'm going to go. Okay, how could we then play diminished? Well, I'm on my A root note. I'm just going to go up the scale. And I need to resolve this idea. How can I resolve it? Where's my D chord? So I'm going to play to the F sharp, which is the 3rd of the chord. So I just play the triad, D major. A7. It's a nice tension resolution idea. Then I'm going to continue on with some D. Again, triad. From D here to D here. Major pentatonic. Love this sound. Use it all the time. It's got that country or very early blues influence. Very D, and we need to resolve to A. Again, triad. A major triad. And we'll end it with some B.B. King. So we're going to jump up to the root note, A, hit it and slide down. So the entirety of that lick played nice and slowly sounds like this. A little bit faster. And it doesn't matter the speed I play that at, right? it's always in time because I'm so very focused on the idea of rhythm. I'm so very focused on the way the melody is supposed to sound. It's consistent no matter the tempo. If I play it really fast, 3, 4. It's the same idea, right? Because I've got it very clear in my mind what it is that I'm looking to do. Now again, to mix the first and second licks together, maybe I play... Maybe I do this. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really doesn't matter what I do, right? It's the fluidity. It's the combining melodic ideas. Melodic idea here, connect it to this one, play some diminished, resolve it to D. It's the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. So there's 2 licks. Let me play that lick along to a click track for you with a chord behind it. And that's going to sound like this. Okay, now let's play that same lick again, or hear that same lick again, played over the backing track. That's going to sound like this. Okay, so on to our third and final lick. We're going to start this one lower down on the neck, in our open A position. When I see this and I think A, I think major pentatonic, maybe blues, mixolydian. The point is, when I see a chord, I've got all of my vocabulary. So here's the chord, I play scale. And the melody I'm going to play is this. Very simple, right? Starting on the 2nd of A, 4th fret. Just targeting that root note of A. 4, 5, slide down to 4, pull off to 2. Now we need to change to a D chord. Well, here's the D triad, and I'll play just 2 notes of that chord. Why not? It sounds like the chord, right? A major, D, A. Repeat the idea, right? That's helped us outline those chord changes. It sounds like those 2 chord changes. Now we want to play some diminished. So what can we play? Well, let's go back to our 5th fret area, and I'm going to play this. Woo! Spicy, right? So what am I doing there? Well, we're playing over an A7. I'm just going to target my A sound. Flat 3rd. Move up my A major triad. Up to the flat 3. And it's really bluesy. So it's a triplet. And 1 and 8th fret on the high E. Up to the 9th fret. And then we're just going to come down the scale. Take us to the F sharp, the 3rd of our D chord. I like to slide in from a semitone below. And I also think something that I'm doing here, I do it subconsciously, is I create tension with my rhythm. You know, I don't play straight. I don't play with a very rigid swing. Which is a very tight swing sound. I'm trying to create tension in my rhythm by blurring the line between straight and swing. Trying to exert as much feeling in that as I can. I'm trying to really stretch out the beat. I'm not literally making the bar longer, but I'm trying to make my playing sound very laid back there. So when I put that in context, very cool. Like it really sounds like the sound of the chord, right? I'm not going to finish it like that, but we'll move up. So, okay, how can we take it somewhere different? Why not? Same rhythm, right? Ba, 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 da, da. Ba, da, ba, da, da. Sounds great. Third of D, fifth of D. And then I'm going to play a double stop. I like the sound of that. What am I playing? Third of D, seventh of D. And I put that little bluesy bend, which gives it some grit. Now we have the hard part. This isn't diminished, this is just blues. I didn't need to put this in here, but I did. So we're going to move down a blues scale. We're going to go with a triplet feel. 1 and 2 and so we need to practice that first. And then when we can do that, we're going to hammer to the third of A. So this is one that you need to be able to play slow. Da, ba, da, da, ba, da, 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 3, 4, and speed up. Da, ba, da, ba, ba, da, da. And again, the speed doesn't matter, right? You could play this at any speed. It would be relevant, important at any tempo. Slow is exactly the same as... That's the basic idea. Now, to finish the solo, I'm just going to punctuate it with a chord. This is an A13 chord. 10, 11, 11, 10. Sounds like the chord that we're playing over. And I love doing that in my playing, because I find myself playing in bands where I am the only guitar player. So I sometimes need to be my rhythm guitar player as well as the lead guitar player, right? So being able to play 3, 4. Those chords punctuate the melody and help to create the illusion that maybe there's two guitar players there. So if I play the lick in its entirety, it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's that lick. Let me play that for you now again, along with a click track, so you can play along with me. Sounds like this. And here's that lick played to a backing track. That sounds like this. So there we have it, 3 licks that you can play using a diminished scale in the blues in order to create a little bit of tension that leads you from the 1 chord over to the 4 chord. I really do hope you have enjoyed this, and if you have, please do consider checking out my latest book, Diminished Scale Mastery for the Guitar. Looks like that. link available in the description. We're going to go into so much more detail than we did in this video. And yeah, it's, hopefully this video is a nice taster for what that is all about. If you want this scale under your fingers, that's a great place to go and check it out. So thank you so much for checking out this video. I've been Levi Clay, you've been awesome, and I will see you for another video soon. Laters.